The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Jaxson Dart to the Jets. There's a lot of buzz saying despite signing Justin Fields, the Jets could go after Dart in the NFL draft. We'll talk about the latest on that and much more. Matt O'Leary joins us in his weekly spot. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby. We bleed Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Kings of the offseason, baby. This is what we do. At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy first day of March Madness. There is still time if you want to join the Asmaniac Survivor Pool, but you're running out of time once all the games begin today. I think you technically have till 10 p.m. tonight when the last games of the Thursday slate tip off. So the link's in the description if you want to join, and I'll post a link in the live chat as well. We got a lot to talk about, but first, a big programming announcement. I'm filling in for Michael K today from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. You can listen on the ESPN New York app, and I want all the calls I can get, baby. 800-919. ESPN's the number, so if you're an Asmaniac out there who wants to call in, I will make sure you guys get to the front of the line. And then after I'm done with the show today, if you're in the New York area and you want to meet me in person, hang out and watch some of the games, I'll be attending the ESPN New York watch party that's going down at HF Markets, 230 Park Avenue. It's located right next to Grand Central Station. So busy day ahead. So this will be the only live YouTube show on the day. The Asmaniac raffle is tomorrow, so make sure you get your memberships gifted for your chance to win all these prizes. Maynard jersey, Garrett helmet, Corbett helmet, Marshall signed jersey, and Kotry signed jersey. That's what we have in store for you on the show. So make sure you gift away. All right, let's say hello to Matt O'Leary in his weekly spot. Matt, happy Thursday. Are you ready to talk about Jaxson Dart potentially being a New York Jet?
Yeah, man, I'm ready to get into it. Of course, there is always a quarterback conversation going on with our New York Jets.
There always is. Now, here is the latest, right? So Rich Cimini, in a notes column that ESPN published yesterday, he wrote essentially that just because the Jets signed Justin Fields, it does not mean that they wouldn't then go out there and potentially draft a quarterback if they like someone. And he has continuously said, really from the beginning here, that he believes the Jets are huge fans of Jaxson Dart, the quarterback from Ole Miss. Cimini writing, quote, addition of Fields, $30 million guaranteed, won't preclude the Jets from drafting a QB. If they have strong conviction, they won't hesitate to pull the trigger at any point in the draft. A lot of buzz surrounding Jaxson Dart. So if the Jets were to take Jaxson Dart, Matt, how would you feel about that scenario?
Well, it really depends where they're taking him, in my opinion. I know that, there was rumblings early in the offseason that he could make his way all the way up to the New York Jets at number 7. I don't like that idea or feel very comfortable taking Jaxson Dart in the first round, just because I think there's a certain set of expectations that come with a first round quarterback, especially a top 10 pick in the quarterback, that they're going to play pretty soon. I view Jaxson Dart as a bit of a project. There's some legitimate traits from Dart that if you watch his game, you could like, and I see why people feel that way about him. But I think mechanically, he still has a little bit of a ways to go. So it's different if you're taking him in round 2 or round 3 than you are with a top 10 pick, or even giving up the capital to trade back up into the first round to get that quarterback. That's not something that I really feel all that comfortable with. But again, like I said, it's a little bit of a different vibe in round 2 or round 3 because there's not that certain set of expectations that comes with the first round quarterback pedigree.
Well, I think the big question, you kind of nail it. It's like, okay, you want Jaxson Dart because you think, hey, maybe there's some upside for him to develop into a franchise quarterback, but you can't do it at 7. So then it's like, well, how do you do it? Well, one scenario is, could they trade at a 7, get some extra picks, and if the board falls a certain way with Dart being there at the end of the first round, could they make their move up to go and get him then? Like, that to me would be the only real path. I just can't picture the Jets giving Justin Fields, I know it's only a 1-year deal, but it's still $30 million guaranteed, and then just saying, yeah, we're going to take a quarterback with the 7th overall pick. That just doesn't jive with what I think is going to play out here.
No, and I totally agree with you. And just how things are going to fall, I expect in this draft, I think there'll be legitimate players for the Jets at pick number 7 for the Jets. 4 different guys that I feel like they're getting talked about the most right now, between Mason Graham, Armand Membu, Tet McMillan, and Tyler Warren. And I just personally have a hard time foregoing one of those 4 guys, either trading back and then, you lose out on them and have to make another move to get Dart, or if you just flat out like, we like Jaxson Dart, we're going to take him 7th overall. I would have a really hard time with that because I think there's people who will be there for you at 7 that will give you a much more immediate impact and help you continue to build out the rest of this roster.
Do you think they take a quarterback at some point in this draft, Matt?
I don't think they necessarily have to. I get why people want to take that swing, right? Like there's assumingly no franchise quarterback on the roster. Yes, they just added Justin Fields. I view him as more of a bridge option with some upside. Maybe he turns into that franchise guy. That would be the dream because it just makes it easier. You don't have to give up any assets or draft assets. At least you only, signed him in free agency. So it's only money that you're worried about at that point. And then you have a veteran in Tyrod Taylor behind him. And we haven't even seen a single practice yet from Jordan Travis, who they took a year ago. So if they want their own mid-round development guy, I could maybe get behind that. But I don't look at it as the Jets have to come away with a quarterback in the 2025 draft. I feel like then you're kind of just taking one to take one, and I don't think that should be the Jets' plan at this point.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, your super chats. We'll cut the line. Last day to enter the Asmaniac raffle. So why don't we do this? $5 super chat for this show only. We'll get you 1 raffle entry. $10 super chat. We'll get you 2 raffle entries and a $20 super chat. Instead of the usual 5, it will get you 7 for this show only. So giving people another way to enter our Asmaniac raffle here. You look at the options at pick 7, Matt, and ultimately, the longer we go in free agency without the Jets either signing a weapon or trading for a weapon, I just feel like they almost have to get a weapon with that number 7 pick. I know there's some talk about maybe Mason Graham or one of the offensive linemen. It feels like Armand Membu is like the hot name right now in that scenario. But I just feel like right now you have Garrett Wilson and no one else on the outside you have any confidence in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I kind of fall in that boat as well. My preference would be for the Jets to take either Tet McMillan or Tyler Warren. And look, I get it. There's going to be people upset if the Jets do take Tyler Warren because you had the opportunity to take Bowers a year ago and you pass on that just to take a tight end in the first round, 4 picks earlier or whatever it is. I think circumstances are very different than what they were a year ago. You didn't have your franchise left tackle last year, and you found that in the draft by taking Olu Fashanu. You move back the spot and you take him 11th overall. I agree. I think they need another weapon because, as you said, whether it's at tight end or wide receiver, it's Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall in the passing game, and then a lot of major question marks throughout that roster. So that would be my preference as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bo with a 10 membership drop to get us rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Bo C, who's in the raffle for 10 more entries.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
Yes, here we go. If you hear your name, you thank Bo, Billy M, O-Rocks Games, Nate, parentheses, Nate, EJ, the P-word assassin. I ain't saying that full name. Rasta Dread 305, John, Motivational Means Media, all receiving their channel memberships courtesy of Bo C. Bo, thank you very much. All right. As far as weapons, Matt, I mean, there's Warren, there's Tet, Matthew Golden. Do you have a preference if they decide to go weapon at 7?
I honestly think it is Tyler Warren because I think he will impact both the run game and the passing attack. He's a really good blocker. And I think he just adds an element that they frankly don't have at the tight end room. But currently, I would say that Jeremy Ruckert's your number one tight end, which, love him, local kid, but I don't think he's shown you anything through 3 years to make you feel comfortable about him being the starter at tight end. And then you have Stone Smart, who you added in free agency, which has some receiving upside, but that was a really small sample size that we saw from him where he looked very productive. So I like that move as a flyer, but to me, that room is even more barren than the wide receiver room because at least at the receiver room, you have a stud at the top in Garrett Wilson. And yeah, sure, they need more depth beyond that. But at tight end, that's even more barren right now. So for me, my slight lean is Tyler Warren, but I could get behind the Tet McMillan pick too.
How would you feel about Armin Membu being the pick? Brian Baldinger yesterday, he's on NFL Network saying that's the guy the Jets need to draft. They got to solidify the offensive line. My personal thoughts, I wouldn't sit here and say, how could they do that? I would get it. I just feel like there might be a better use of a top 7 pick than taking a right tackle.
Yeah, that's where I am too. Like if that ends up being the pick on draft night, I get it. It kind of is following the mold of the Lions where they take Penei Sewell and they complete their offensive line. And, building a quality line up front is really important for a young quarterback, whether it's Justin Fields or a rookie this year or next year, trying to get that offensive line in the right direction. I think, I feel pretty good about 4/5 of it. It's really just that right tackle spot where there's still a need. I would get it. I wouldn't be upset on draft night if that ends up being the move because it is an important position. But in what you just said is where I'm in agreement. I would lean weapon over the right tackle.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Super Chats cut the line. Abu Dhabi Jet fan checks in. This is worth 2 raffle tickets for this show, a $10 Super Chat. If Cole likes Kyle McCord later in the draft, I like Kyle McCord later in the draft. So Cole Thompson, longtime friend of the program, his developmental guy he likes was Kyle McCord. I like McCord too, Matt, but I'm also biased because I love the backstory of the fact his family's from Long Island. They're huge Jets fans, and he wore the number 6 because his favorite player growing up was Mark Sanchez. So that alone has me intrigued by McCord. But I don't want to get Jeremy Ruckert again. So I'm not saying you got to draft him because of that. But when you do watch him, you do see a lot of talent there. So I wouldn't hate that pick.
Yeah, that's going to be a popular one, and not just because of the Jets story. That's a part of it, but he had a really nice year after transferring and playing the past year at Syracuse. That's another thing as well. Like you get the upstate Jet fans too, or people who are outside of Long Island because there's that connection as well. I like him as a mid-round swing. Him and Will Howard, I think, are my favorite mid-round options for the Jets.
Hit the like button once again. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. June, the GM says, meet me in New York for Jake's draft party. That's right. Get your tickets now to our big time draft party coming up. It is April 24th, the night of the first round. We'll be hanging out at Clinton Hall. We'll be doing the show from there. We'll have special guests set to join us. Space is limited though. We only have X amount of tickets available. So if you want to go, I recommend you lock in your ticket. If you want to reserve a table for your group, we have options on the website for that as well. It is linked in the description. Just click it and get your general admission ticket. It includes a free drink and a chance to win a bunch of prizes that night, including a signed Sauce, Jermaine Johnson, Joe Klecko, and Nick Mangold jersey, amongst other items. All right, before we get to some more topics here on the Jets, I want to get Matt's thoughts on. It's time to talk Asmaniac Madness. Matt, you're in for a good one today. The 3 seed, Mr. Bonesy, is in action, going up against the 14th seed, JT, as train region play continues. Here's a look at the overall bracket as we get things situated here. We're making our way through the train region opening round, and then we are on to the round of 32. A lot of great matchups are coming, and you look at the matchup today, Bonesy and JT, Bonesy and OG, JT an emerging newer caller that has a huge presence on the show. We got Philly Noodles and Doug on the couch tomorrow, and V-Man and Charlie the dog groomer, the 2 matchups. So we'll be done with the opening round action for all 4 regions tomorrow. So, Matt, what have been your thoughts following this tournament? I know you've been locked in.
Yeah, I love it. There's been a lot of really good matchups. There's been some scares too for some high-end seeds with some tighter races than anticipated. I think it's an uphill battle for our guy JT though. The people love Bonesy and hard not to.
Hard not to love Bonesy. That is true. Although I'm sad that Bonesy is not working today because this watch party I'm doing with ESPN for March Madness is right across the street from the Alden shoe store that he runs. Very sad.
Yeah, that would have been great if we got a Mr. Bonesy appearance at the watch party today.
Oh, the crowd would have went nuts. No doubt about it. All right. On that note, let's get to voting because it is time for Asmaniac Madness. You know the rules. The YouTube poll is going to be live. Vote, vote, vote who you want to send to the next round. Hit it, Jim Nance.
It's time for Asmaniac Madness. Who will cut the nets down as the top Asmaniac for 2025? Some of you don't even care, but we do. Let's get to it.
Vote, vote, vote. Poll is officially live. So it's on you, Asmaniacs, to decide who moves on. All right. Comments, questions, super chats for Matt O'Leary and I to address. I'm curious, Matt, now that we basically have gotten through that kind of first wave of free agency with most of the big names signed, your thoughts on what the Jets did or really didn't do as far as chasing some of the notable names out there?
Yeah, they're going with a very different approach this year. We've seen the Jets be active in free agency the last couple of years, especially with the Aaron Rodgers edition, whether it was the first year kind of bringing in some guys he was familiar with, and then last year, big name hunting with Tyron Smith and Mike Williams and some other names, the Hassan Reddick trade. This year, I think we're seeing the Jets go mostly with younger players who have upside and are also a bit of reclamation projects. Whether it's Justin Fields or Andre Sisco, who had a down year last year, or even Brandon Stevens, I think you could place in that mold. I don't think the Jets are really at a point with the roster where they have to spend big in free agency. And sometimes, as we've seen, winning the offseason doesn't always translate to winning on the football field. So I don't mind the approach right now. I kind of just want to see what the roster looks like when we get closer to training camp after the draft, and then you get some cuts in June and maybe you make a couple additional moves. But I understand why they're doing this and having this approach right now in year one of Glenn and Muji.
I like some of it, but I just think there's also some of these guys they've signed that you look at the other contracts that were given out and it's like, you couldn't have just done that instead. Like I look at Javon Holland's deal with the Giants and I go, wouldn't that make sense just to pay him, get someone that could solidify your back end? It's not crazy money he got rather than taking a flyer for 1 year on Cisco. The Stevens signing, I mean, I hope it works, but I feel like if a previous Jet regime made that signing, we'd be going nuts. But because Glenn and Muji are new, they get the benefit of the doubt. That's the one signing where I'm like, I don't really understand that. If you weren't going to pay DJ Reed, why are we spending so much on another corner when you have some guys that like Stiggers who can compete for the job, or maybe you could have brought back Eccles on a 1 year deal and given him a real opportunity. So that's the one signing with that I kind of scratch my head with as we look back to that first wave.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He definitely got more money than I anticipated, and that wasn't a name that was ever really linked to the Jets before free agency, so I was surprised by it too. At least with how they structured the deal, it's a cheap cap hit in year one. It's only $4 million, and then it bumps up to 14 in year two, which is legitimate starting outside corner money. But they can get out of it at the end of 2026 because he doesn't have any guaranteed money left in 2027. So if things do go poorly, they have an out, but it does feel like a risky and bold swing for them.
Comments, questions, super chats for Matt O'Leary and I to answer. This one is from Michael. It cuts the line. If they go Warren at 7, what are the right tackle options in rounds 2 or 3? By the way, Michael, $5 super chats for this show. They get you one raffle entry, so you're in the raffle for one. If they go Warren at 7, what are the right tackle options in the second or third round? Matt, your thoughts on some options there?
Yeah, I think my favorite round 2 or 3 option for the Jets at that position is Ozzie Trapilo out of Boston College. He's played a lot on the offensive line in different areas, but I think he fits best at right tackle. And, you see teams around the league, they don't always have to spend first-round picks to fill out their offensive line. And just with the Jets' allocation of resources in recent years, like, they have a bunch of first or, top 2-round picks on the line. AVT was a first rounder, Olu first rounder, Titman a second rounder. So that's 3 guys, with, premium capital on the line. They spent some decent money on John Simpson. But if you're trying to fill out the right tackle spot with someone on day 2, I think Ozzie Trapilo makes the most sense.
You know what I wonder? Would they put AVT at right tackle? And I say that because he's going into a contract year. Tackles get paid more than guards. He would probably be open to it to prove his versatility on the offensive line. And we've seen in brief opportunities him go to tackle and look the part. And if they put him at right tackle, it's a lot easier to find a plug-and-play guard either in the draft, or you give Max Mitchell a chance there, or you say, hey, Josh Myers, you've started a lot in this league. We're going to put you there at guard, or we move Tippmann to guard and put Myers at center. And then that kind of gives you a little more flexibility with that number 7 pick to go weapon. And then you don't feel like you're in dire straits to definitely go offensive lineman in the second round. You could kind of take a wait-and-see approach, maybe do it with your third-round pick, which is now 20 spots higher than we originally thought. So I just wonder if maybe their plan, and they haven't said it yet, is AVT is going to slide over to right tackle, and then that gives them a lot of flexibility if that's their plan. If, say, Membu's not there at 7, or they want to go weapon instead over Membu or a different lineman.
Yeah, my preference would be to leave the 4 guys that were here a year ago in the positions that they played, just to finally start building some continuity. But I don't think you could rule out the Jets having AVT play right tackle. You know, it's a totally different regime than that was here a year ago when they made the decision to play Elijah Vera Tucker at right guard. And you're right, like it does add a different level of flexibility. Now, you know, Myers didn't get a ton of money in free agency. I think it was only a $2 million deal. So that's not necessarily starter money, but he has started games in the past. So if you want to put him at center, maybe because he's snapped for Justin Fields in the past, then you could slide your center and right guard over a spot, and then you kind of fill out the offensive line. And as you said, it allows you maybe a more of an opportunity to take a weapon or multiple weapons early on in this draft. I would get it. I worry about continuing to move these guys around. I kind of just want to find them a position and let them stay there and learn it for their career.
Good super chat there from Bo talking about that. I agree. Dan with a Asmaniac super chat. Thank you, Dan. Trade for Olave, complete the Ohio State Jets, like the Bridges trade to complete the Nova Knicks. Well, then the Nova Knicks then traded DiVincenzo, though, so not exactly the same thing, but I see your point. Maybe we lose Ruckert like the Knicks lost Dante. All right, you even covered it in the super chat, Dan. Look, as far as Olave, I know it's a nice thought. Oh, Ohio State, bring them all together. But there's no one out there actually saying he's available in a trade. It's just fan speculation. Unless I'm missing some media report that they're listening on offers for him in New Orleans, I don't know if he's available.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't know how available he is or isn't right now. There's also a legitimate injury concern with him because he's suffered a few concussions already just through his first 3 years in the league. And you always worry about those guys. The more concussions that you wrap up here, the more likely you are to get one in the future. So kind of feel like he's one more concussion away from having some legitimate problems, but it also would depend on what the cost is. Like, would you have to give up a second, pick 42? I don't know how I'd feel about that with the injury history. Is it more of a third or fifth round pick? Then it's possibly a different story. But as you mentioned, I think it's more speculation than it is that he's legitimately available.
Thunderlips checks in. 4th round comp pick playing a part in free agent signings. I think it might be because you look at the money that Reddick got, and that puts the Jets in line if they don't essentially spend on a equivalent salary to maybe get a 4th round comp pick for Reddick, which would basically negate the pick you traded in the 3rd round in 2026 to get him in the first place. So maybe that's playing, some factors in this. I can't rule that out. It's not a great free agent class. Maybe they're like, we think we can get a better player in the 4th round in 2026 than we could sign in free agency at a similar rate this year. I don't know. I mean, it's not a crazy thought that that's playing some sort of factor in the Jets free agent process.
Yeah, and they had to give up the 3rd round pick in 2026 to get Hassan Reddick. So I think they view it as recouping something for him. Yes, you're sliding back around in the draft, but it's better than just completely lighting that pick on fire. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for the Jets with that trade. But I do think that's something they're going to put more of an emphasis on. They never really end up with high comp picks because they do spend a lot in free agency. And this might be an opportunity where they finally recoup one.
If you're watching this live, click the like button. Reminder, $5 super chats for today only. Get you 1 raffle entry. $10 super chats for today only. Get you 2. and a $20 super chat instead of the usual $5. We'll get you 7 today. Chance to win a signed Don Maynard jersey, signed Garrett Wilson helmet, signed Wayne Corbett helmet, signed Brandon Marshall jersey, and a signed Jericho Cotchery jersey as well. Comments, questions, super chats, they cut the line. Let's bring this one up from Henny, who says, Matt, would you take Warren round 1 or another position in tight end in the mid-round? Also, how realistic is a trade down, and how far would you drop?
I would be comfortable taking Tyler Warren in the first round. If they don't do that, there are still guys who will be there on day 2 that I happen to like. Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon, who the Jets have expressed some interest in. I know the tight end coach was at Oregon's Pro Day this week taking a look. I like Gunnar Helm out of Texas. I know he didn't test very well, but he was injured or got injured during the combine. He rolled his ankle and was running on a swollen ankle. So that's kind of why the 40 time didn't look so good, but I think the tape is there for a guy like that. So if they forego taking tight end, I think you can find someone who could be productive for you on day 2. If they do trade down, I don't think I want to go further than maybe like 10 picks down the board. And if they do move down, I think a target would be, sticking on the Ohio State theme, Ibuka, the wide receiver out of Ohio State.
I like that. I like that a lot. Peter Castro checks in. Tyler Warren at 7. If Peter Castro has declared Warren at 7, that's the move, Matt. That is the move the Jets need to make.
It'd be a lot of fun, honestly, just because for a few different reasons. One, because he's a legitimate threat in the passing game. 2, he would help the run game out with his blocking ability. But I also think he fits the identity that Aaron Glenn is trying to establish with the Jets. I view this year that they're going to look and try to play hard-nosed physical defense and be a bully team on the offensive side of the ball. And I think Tyler Warren fits that to a T. So I think it makes a lot of sense, honestly.
How about this mock draft that I recently worked on with Dom Sate? Jedi State, baby.
I love it. I think you nailed it, dude.
I mean, this is just the move, apparently. You trade for Olave and then just draft every player from Ohio State, and we're going to hire Urban Meyer as an assistant head coach under Aaron Glenn.
It worked for them last year, right? They're the best team in college football, so who knows? Maybe it transfers to the Jets now.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. We got a blowout going on here in Asmaniac Madness. I can't say I'm shocked. We know the people love Mr. Bonesy, and the votes are reflecting that. 87-13. Bonesy leading JT in the 3 versus 14 matchup. Gusbuster Hotline is open, and let's say hello to the number 3 seed in action right now, Mr. Bonesy, to start us off. Hello, Bones.
Jake, my brother. Natty, what's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Bones, you're cruising.
Look, man, I love the people. I appreciate it. JT's a good. He got a tough matchup in round 1, but he's been a good caller, and shout out to JT for even giving me some competition. Hopefully, let's see what happens. I got a little surprise here. This guy stayed home from school. Just knock the camera down, no problem. He's turned into a big Jet fan, and he just wants to tell you his favorite player. Talk to him.
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, great choice.
All right, this camera is not helping me out right now. Yeah, I honestly can't get him to not be into football. I come home, he's watching highlights. He's 6 years old. He's watching highlights on his tablet.
I love that.
It's all from last year, so it's but
he doesn't know the true pain of Jet fandom yet.
Right. He doesn't yet, but it'll sink in eventually.
It always does.
This Jaxson Dart stuff. We can't draft him in the first round unless it's like a trade-in because you want that rookie contract. I feel like we need weapons, man. With us laying low in free agency, I feel like we need to. I think we talked about it. We need to hit on 3 starters in this draft. We need to ace this draft, especially with Glenn saying he wants to win now. I just feel Dart at 7's out of the question. They're going to talk him up so much. I am completely out on Dart in the first round unless it's like you're sure he's your guy and you want to trade in late to get that first round contract.
I'll tell you what, though. I hope someone loves Dart. Like, it might not be the Jets, but if the Jets could potentially get a team, like maybe it's even New Orleans just trying to come up 2 spots to guarantee they get Dart if they like him. Like, if you could get something and move back, that would be awesome for a new regime, just to recoup an extra second, recoup an extra third. Like, even if it's picks next year, you might need those picks to move up next year to get your quarterback if it doesn't work out with Fields, which is probably likely if we're being honest. So, like, I'm all for someone loving Jaxson Dart if it's not the Jets.
If we could get that, we get a nice trade, coop some picks. That move back a little bit, especially if our guy isn't on the board. I mean, I'm slowly but surely really feeling Warren. I'm thinking with Fields, we're going to be such a run heavy offense. Why not bring in a guy who could block, be an extra lineman, just really help us in the pass game. I feel like if it's not Warren, I personally, I really don't want Graham because I don't see Graham and Q being like a tag team. Maybe they'll be good helping us out, get the run game, the run defense back going. But I'm just the D tackle stuff, man. I'm just not feeling that. But I did want to say something though. I wanted to say I just want everyone to give some appreciation. I'm giving a shout out to this one guy, Gator. Do you see what Gator has done with this comedy and just like every person, even Briga. Like Briga's a great guy, but look what Gator has created for Briga. One Punch Briga is taking over. We can't even go 2 minutes in the chat with somebody hitting a Briga, like it's just he's just the man. And every time if you need a good laugh,
is Gator the man or Briga is the man?
Gator. It's all Gator. Yeah, half the characters on our show aren't even that good without Gator. It's all Gator, man. I just want to give a shout out to Gator because he's just been making me laugh so much. I just love that man. So just want to give a nice shout out to my man because he's always making us laugh. And when you're going through tough times, this Gator comes through and giving us great content to laugh at. So I want to give my boy a shout out.
That's well said. I actually have some great Gator news I've been waiting to share on the show. Gator is putting together another Asmaniac album of his funniest parody songs and different things we play on the show. It will be available on Apple Music and Spotify in the very near future, but I have a little graphic here. It's coming soon. You'll get the Mr. Bonesy song included in the album. And apparently the One Punch Briga song is going to be a lot longer than the current 30-second versions because it's going to feature some lyrics about the Briga versus Gary moon landing debate, I've been told.
Okay.
Let's go. I love Gator. So I really got, man.
Well, Bonesy, you're the man. Congrats to you. The chat is coming out and voting in droves for you. 87-13 over JT.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm coming for Chef next round. He's been talking a lot of shit, throwing a lot of smoke out there. We're gonna have to do a little something crazy next round. So I'm pretty excited about that. And let's go, B. Oh, you gotta give me a Jets chant.
Yes, come on,
give me
Sonny.
a good Jets chant.
Let's go, Sonny.
Jets, Jets.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be the best of the bunch? Asmaniac Madness. You get to pick the ones who make the show rock. Who's the king? As a Jew.
What a call from Mr. Bonesy. I'm not surprised Bonesy's dominating. He is well-liked, beloved member, if you will, of this community, no doubt. You met Bonesy in person before too, man. I know at some of the events.
Yes, I have. Bonesy's a great dude. Love Mr. Bonesy.
Bo with actually, you know what? Let me not skip ahead here. This one is from Kelly, who checks in. Matt being part of the 4.5%. Who would you rather have strip for you at your bachelor party, Bobby Midnight or Jay Quest?
Oh man, how do you not go Bobby, man? I've seen his moves on the Jake Asman show, popping the top, tarps off at the bachelor party and dancing. I think we got to go Bobby Midnight here.
Nothing like it. Now, Matt, have you told your wife the news that the winner of Asmaniac Madness gets a free invite to the Matt O'Leary wedding this fall?
I did bring it up. It got a laugh. I don't think she realized how serious we are about adding the winner of Asmaniac Madness to the guest list. But yeah, she's in for a rude awakening, I guess.
It's gonna be a wild night. I'll tell you that much. Bo checks in. I would use Corley a little in the backfield. Can you imagine Fields, Brees, and Corley all together? I'm not sure a defense would know how to adjust. Well, it'd be nice if we had real coaching that could take advantage of the skill set that Malachi Corley does have. I'm not ready just to completely give up on him, but I'm also not going to sit here and say, well, I can count on him to be something. Like, we have no idea.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, I'm very curious to see how they decide to use Malachi Corley this year. In a perfect world, yeah, I think that is how you use him. You line him up all over the field. You get him the ball in different situations and see what he could do yards after the catch or with the ball in his hands running it. I really don't mind this plan at all.
You know, you heard Mr. Bonesy say that his son's favorite player is Garrett Wilson. Perfect segue, because I want your thoughts on contract extensions for Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. We saw T. Higgins get paid the other day. Derek Stingley reset the market at the corner spot. So your thoughts on Garrett and Sauce, their futures and contract talks with each of them?
Yeah, this is something I'd like to see get done in the offseason. I think Garrett Wilson's number's been pretty well established for the last little bit. I think it's going to be right around 4 years and $120 million, which is, the average annual value of $30 million a year. I think that sounds about fair for Garrett Wilson and what he's shown so far in this league. The really only big change, I think, is the Sauce Gardner one, because going into this offseason, J.C. Horn resets it at 25, and then you get a 20% increase even over that for Derek Stingley at 30. And suddenly, at least my expectation was that Sauce would be around $25 million a year. That's not going to be the case anymore. I think he breaks Derek Stingley's number. I think he gets just over $30 million a year. And I think the longer they wait, just the higher that price is going to continue to go up.
I would have loved to seen them get a deal done with Sauce before Stingley got paid. Because once you saw J.C. Horn getting 25 and Sauce is a better player than J.C. Horn, you knew Stingley was going to get paid big money. I didn't think it'd be necessarily, $5 million more AAV than any other corner. But now, because they missed the mark on that, Sauce's next deal is starting with at least $30 million a year, because through 3 years, he's been better than Derek Stingley. Stingley had the better 2024, but yep. Sauce was better the first 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to say that's just it. I think people have some recency bias saying that Sauce Gardner is not worth $30 million a year just based off his play a year ago. And I get it. It wasn't up to his normal standard, but you can't just throw out the first team all pros in back-to-back seasons that he had. So he's one of the best corners in the league, and he's going to get paid like it soon.
NY in Atlanta in the raffle for one. For today, only $5 super chats gets you in the raffle. And he's reminding everyone, hit the likes button. That's right. Thumbs up button helps the channel continue to grow. Make sure you guys also subscribe to Matt O'Leary's Daily Jets channel and check him out Tuesdays on the Talking Jets show, which I watch every single week. God, Green Bean, what a legend, man. What a legend that Bean fella is.
He is truly a one-of-one human being. one of the best people that I've had the luxury of meeting, not just in the Jets world, but in life in general. That show is just so much fun. We've been doing it for, I think, 6 years now. I think we started in 2019 doing that show, and it's just so much fun, the dynamic the three of us have together.
Yeah, you guys, Ryan, just an awesome show Tuesday nights. Everyone should watch. I'm honestly so excited to be at your wedding, Matt, and then be at the same table with Ryan and Green Bean and the other Jet content guys that you were nice enough to invite, because that is going to be a hilarious night.
It's going to be incredible. And that's, part of the reason why I did it. I mean, this is what I do for work. So that's my work friends.
Yeah.
Table, but yeah, it's going to be a who's who of Jets content creators out at a party celebrating. So it's going to be a blast. I really can't wait for this thing.
Watch something crazy break that night with the Jets, and we'll all be in the same spot. You just going live off our phones. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a break from drinking and being on the dance floor. Come over, get my take off, I guess.
You're like, Matt O'Leary here, back with another video from my So I was the best man in a wedding 2 weeks ago, and the Jets re-signed Sherwood, and I would have done a show, but obviously I couldn't. So I just, in my full-on tuxedo, about 5 minutes before I had to give the best man speech, I just quickly ripped off a couple Sherwood takes and posted it as a YouTube short on the channel that night.
You got to do what you got to do, man. The content game doesn't sleep.
Hit the like button If you're tuning in live, comments, questions, super chats for either Matt or myself to answer. Jimbo writes in, Dave Briga gets picked up by the bus only to then drive himself and others to school, toss the keys to the previous driver and say, it's all yours, get a job. Boomtown writes in, Dave Briga doesn't sleep, he waits. Boomtown writes in, Dave Briga wins games of Connect 4 in just 3 moves. Wow. How about this? Beastbreaker says Briga is a soldier at war. Briga has turned even Beast on his side, and those two went at it in the opening round of Asmaniac Madness. That is the power of Dave Briga right now. Unbelievable. Bino says Briga once missed 2 days of school. Those 2 days are now called the weekend. That's incredible. The Briga jokes are my favorite. Keep it coming, chat. Jose says draft Membu, left tackle, right tackle, and center set for the next 6+ years. And I understand that argument. I do. I just almost wonder, can the Jets be like every other team and find their starting right tackle on day 2 or day 3 of the draft? Like, I just feel like you could argue, hey, take Membu. It's a safe pick. He's great. But it's like, look at the weapons this team has or lack thereof. Like, I almost feel like if you have a chance to get this like unicorn player in Warren or get your pick of the best receiver, that might make more sense given where you're at as a team. You already have 4 of your 5 O-line starters in place. So I get the argument for Membu, but I don't know. I would not be against going weapon over another offensive lineman, even if that's the quote-unquote safe pick and cliche you build through the trenches and all that everyone says.
Yeah, and look, like we said early in the show, I wouldn't be mad if this is the approach the Jets took because, as you know, Jose writes out right here, having left tackle, right tackle, and center, you know, your bookends and your center, who's kind of the leader of that offensive line unit together and young and growing together, it's important, and that's really a good thing. But I just maybe it's just offensive line fatigue after they did it this past year, and then with Becton in 2020 and AVT in 2021, kind of just want to shake some things up and do it a little bit differently. But no one should be upset if Armand Membu is the pick because, again, filling out that offensive line would be a lot of fun.
Gangrene 365 is in the Asmaniac raffle for 5.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
If you hear your name, you thank Gangrene. Weege, shout out to Weege. Indy Jets, who's coming to the draft party, all the way from North Carolina. Infrared Jets, Matthias Morales, who I'll see Saturday at our Asmaniac Knicks meetup, and Mickey, all receiving channel memberships. Let's keep the super chats rolling here as we talk with Matt in his weekly spot. Rex Ryan writes in, Team Bonesy. How about that? Sexy
Coach,
Rexy's watching.
Yeah, even Coach is in on the Bonesy love.
Unbelievable. More calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is in action tomorrow in his matchup, so it's a good thing that he calls in to remind people who he be. The number 10 seed in the Train region. Doug on the couch is next. Hello, Doug.
Not only am I on the couch, I'm back on the OG couch.
Wow, pulling out all the stops. Where you been, Doug?
I've been sick, been dealing with work stuff, been a crazy past few weeks.
Well, I'm glad you could call in, Doug. We miss you.
I feel that. I'm sorry I haven't been able to call in. Before I get into Jet stuff, who do you guys have winning March Madness?
I'm hoping the Johnnies, but I don't know if they're going to win.
Yeah, I'm not really a huge basketball fan, but I am going to hop on the St. John's bandwagon as the local team.
So going to the Jets, I would prefer they take McMillan in the first round. I got like McMillan, and then lineman, whichever lineman they love in the second round, and then draft one of the tight ends in the third round. My preference is Fannin, but like you could go with any of those tight ends, like you said, the guy from Oregon, the guy from Texas. But my preference is Fannin because his tape is so good and he was just dominant, and he did it against big teams too. Like he went off against Penn State and Texas A&M, so it wasn't just he went off in the MAC. He went off against big time opponents too, and I think that translates well. So I'm like, get McMillan, if not. Trade back and then draft Paducah, like what you said earlier, Matt, and then you find your lineman in the second round, and then you get the tight end in the third. But also, just thinking back to like the past few Lions draft from the Aaron Glenn perspective, they did things people like weren't expecting to do because they picked Gibbs a little bit earlier than they expected, and they picked Campbell a little bit earlier expected. They said if they just swap them around, those would have been great picks, but because of where they got them, they thought it a little bit weird. So maybe because they got Branch in the second round one year, so maybe the Jets draft a safety in the second round. So just thinking that from Aaron Glenn and the Lions point of view.
I could see it. I don't know what would be the unconventional pick at 7? I don't think it'd be.
People aren't liking the hood. I'll take off the hood.
No, I love the hoodie for you, Doug.
Yeah.
It looks good.
People aren't liking the hood. Sorry for interrupting, Matt.
No, you're good. I feel like maybe like a non-Mason Graham defensive lineman at 7, maybe one of the like Jalen Walker, maybe. Although I've seen him getting some love, so maybe it wouldn't be crazy. I don't know. I feel like gun to my head. I think the pick at 7 comes down to 3 players right now: Warren, Membu, and Mason Graham. I think one of those 3 will be Jets, depending on how the board breaks.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I like Ted McMillan, and he's someone that I am campaigning for the Jets to take 7th overall. I'd be surprised if they went that route, though, just based on some of the things that have come out in the last recent weeks. And, with Justin Fields in this offense, I think they're going to try to put an emphasis in the running game more so than adding another wide receiver.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I'm trying to think of it like what the Lions did. I know they're not trying to be copy and paste the Lions, but they did do that line thing, and then they run the ball a lot. But they do have just good receivers that helps. But they run the ball a lot. Their offense is dedicated from the run game, and then after the run game, they make pass plays, basically, and a lot of play actions for what I remember of the Lions offense. So maybe that's what the Jets want to try and do, which I have no problem with if it works. But I will say the one good thing about going into this season, unlike the past 2 years, I have 0 expectations. So whatever happens, like I can't get like too crushed by it. And if it becomes a fun season, that's good. Like not the second solid year when we didn't know what was going to happen and they started 6-2 or 6-3. That was the most fun Jet season I had in a long time because you just didn't know what was coming. Whereas the last 2 years, those were like some of the most painful Jet seasons I've ever experienced as a Jets fan. I think you two would probably agree.
They need good call, Doug. Good to hear from you, and good luck in your matchup tomorrow. They need to get off to a good start with this regime because I think there's a lot of people more so than ever that are not giving this new regime the benefit of the doubt, and some of it's unfair because they're not responsible for the 14-year playoff drought. But there were a lot of fans, and I'll throw myself in that bucket because I was vocal about this, who wanted experienced people in these jobs, not first-time GM, first-time coach again, and also first-time offensive play caller. So I feel like they need a good start. Like they can't, get off to that 1-7 Adam Gase start in his first year where like they were fake good the second half of the year and they finished 7-9, but they were Fregazy 7-9. You know what I mean? Like to me, this new regime, it's important for them to get off to a good start just so fans can have something to have a little hope about this team going forward.
Yeah, like what Doug was saying, he was talking about, not really having expectations and maybe being pleasantly surprised. I'd like to see a comparable to like the 2006 Jets. They have a really, really good draft where they land, 2 cornerstones in the first round and then some nice depth guys with, Leon Washington and Brad Smith and Eric Smith and guys like that. And then that's the foundation for the next couple of years down the line where they're a playoff team in 2009 and 2010 and they win 9 games in 2008. I just think they need a really strong draft to help propel them forward to being competitive. And then, maybe it's not winning 10 games like the 2006 Jets did, but just taking a tangible step forward from a 5-win team a year ago and showing some confidence in Glenn and Engstrand and Muji going forward in their regime.
Yep. 2006 was such a fun year for Jet fans, no doubt. Chitty with a super chat in the raffle for one with this. Check out wide receiver Jaden Higgins. I think he's going to be a stud 2nd-round pick. I know Dom C, who's our resident draft guru around here, he loves Jaden Higgins, has him as his he has him as his 5th rated receiver, has a 2nd-round grade on him, 6'4", 210 pounds from Iowa State. You watch his highlight tape, he's a fun watch. Your thoughts on Higgins as an option for the Jets, Matt?
Yeah, I think that's someone that you should get excited about if the Jets did take in the 2nd round. Him and Jack Besh, I would say out of TCU, are like my 2 favorite 2nd-round options for the Jets at wide receiver. So I'd be good with it. And Higgins, I think, fits the mold that the Jets are looking for, a bigger outside wide receiver.
Reminder, raffle going down tomorrow. Signed Jericho Cotry jersey. Signed Brandon Marshall jersey. Signed Wayne Corbett helmet. Signed Garrett Wilson helmet. And signed Don Maynard jersey. All being raffled away to 5 lucky Asmaniacs. Also, if you haven't joined the Asmaniac Survivor pool, there's still time. I'll post a link again. If you're watching this live, you have till 10 p.m. I just checked Eastern tonight. If you want to join Survivor, it's just like football Survivor. Each day of the tournament, you need to pick a team. So team today, team tomorrow. And if that team loses, you're out. You're eliminated. So, and once you use that team once, if you pick St. John's today, you can't use them again. That's it. So you got to be strategic with your selections as well. South Philly writes in, Briga makes onions cry. Ralphie writes in, the only thing better than Alden shoes is Dave Briga. JD writes in, this is our guy John, whose Don Maynard signed helmet arrived yesterday. So I'm glad you finally got it, John. The post office was brutal with sending that out. Have to believe Warren provides a bigger impact than a right tackle. I'd imagine Tyler Warren would have a bigger impact than a right tackle in year one, but it's not a guarantee just because outside of Brock Bowers, very rarely have we seen top 10 tight ends come in and dominate. But I feel like the game is also changing a lot now with today's NFL, where the tight end maybe is more important than it's ever been.
Yeah, tight end is really important. And I think if you look at just in general, one with Justin Fields, like he had a really good relationship, I thought, in Chicago with Cole Kmet as a, safety blanket kind of target for him. And then just young quarterbacks in general, having that tight end who could either A, split the seam, or B, be a nice, check down or secondary option for you, I think is really important. And the Jets haven't had that guy really since Dustin Keller. And that's, almost 15 years ago now. So I think it would be an important add. And right tackle is important. Like, I don't want to just gloss over right tackle and say like they can get by with, if they just trotted Max Mitchell out there. That's not the case. That would be an anchor on the line. But as we've discussed already on the show, can you find someone who in the second, third, fourth rounds who could come in and just be an average starter for you and be lifted up by the rest of the other four starters on this line?
Mario writes in, there is no theory of evolution, just a list of animals Briga allows to live. John LG is in the raffle for one. He has gifted a channel membership. John, thank you. Your channel membership went to listener Kyle Smith. Keep the memberships rolling if you want a chance to win prizes on the show tomorrow. This is from John as well, an Asmaniac Super Chat. He says, tuned in today to watch Mr. Bonesy, a true number 3 seed, take the ball and run with it, unlike when Allen fumbled the 3 seed he did not deserve. I love it. Any chance you get to poke fun at Allen, I'm all for. And if you look at the bracket here, Matt, not only was Allen a 3 seed, but he was a 3 seed that, quite frankly, got dominated in his matchup. Jets Johnny taking him out pretty good.
Yeah, that's a tough upset there. You never love when a 3 seed goes down early, but Allen's very polarizing. A very polarizing guy, has a lot of haters for some of his takes and opinions on this football team.
Meadowland Swamp Thing. Matt is 9 inches taller than Jake. Is that true? So I'm 5'8". How tall are you, Matt?
I am 6'4". So I don't know. What's the math on that?
Is that 7?
9, 10, 11. Yeah, I guess so.
7? Not quite 9. Close enough. Let's see. Jimbo in the raffle for 7 with this $20 super chat. Thank you very much, Jimbo. Put me in for 7, Jake. I think if we don't take the 3 in Tet Warren and or Graham at 7, would take Walker, could play both pass rush and edge and play in coverage as a linebacker at UGA. I think the versatility would help our defense. I think he's a name to watch for the Jets. I'm not saying they would take him, but Aaron Glenn said he loves speed, and that guy could do a lot for a defense. I just don't know if I would love that over, say, an O-lineman or a weapon, ultimately going defense again.
No, I wouldn't either, but if we're trying to find a dark horse candidate for the Jets to pick at number 7, I think Walker is a good call out because of how versatile he is. And I know different positions, but they took Brian Branch for his defense, and he's someone who could play all over the football field, and Walker kind of the same mold as a versatile player.
David Atkins, who's coming to the draft party, he already bought his ticket. He is gifted a channel membership. David now in the raffle, and the membership went to Roseanne. Congrats to David on the entry, and shout out to Ro for getting herself a channel membership. She is Hoodie Frazier on Twitter for everyone who's on Jets Twitter. How about this from Beastbreaker, man? Me and Briga can be 10 times scary enough to make the Jets win matches with discipline and honor, even dignity and some blood.
I like how he tossed in and some blood at the end. Can he play next to Quinnen Williams? I think Beastbreaker on the interior defensive line could do some damage.
Well, you know what? I know what we need to do. We need to ask the Beast if he could play next to Quinnen Williams. Maybe we can get him in a 3-point stance and see how he can rush the passer a little bit. Here we go.
Holy crap, here comes Beastbreaker 666.
Why don't you get your fat ass on a treadmill and go the distance with me?
Is that Bobby Midnight?
I'm not into politics, and I already told you that.
I might be big, but I'm going to be bad enough to put you out.
Beastbreaker always has some salient points.
All right, Beast. What do you got for us?
Yes.
Could you line up next to Quinnen?
Hold on, I'm trying to get the kinks out of the back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My kinks. When you get older, you'll realize when you get older when the kinks come up there, you're gonna do a nice tightening. So get them out. You know what I'm gonna do? This is how we do defensive line. Now order to put defensive line. Stay. 3 on the ground. Come here, you. I got something for you. Come on.
I'm sold, Matt.
I'm in. I think he nailed it. That looks like maybe he could be like Mike DeVito and just eat up double teams on this defensive line.
Mike DeVito, one of the more underrated Jets of the previous generation.
For sure.
Hit the like button. It's going to be tough to top that call from Beast, but Kyle Clifton, fresh off a win over Phenom in the tournament, will try. Hello, Kyle. Kyle, you got to unmute your mic, and then we'll be able to hear you.
I have the hood up in solidarity with Doug on the couch.
Love it.
I was getting some guff in the chat yesterday from Purple Belt Mike about my need for a haircut, so it's the way for me to go today. I think you're gonna have me looking like a middle-aged Jawa for the duration of the call. Listen, I think we need to get additional picks in this draft. We have 8 right now. I would love to get to double digits. I would love to get to 10. And as much as problems as we were just giving Alan, he's right in the fact that we'd love to get one in the top 75. I would probably even say top 100. That way you can get a fourth player that can be, a role player in a rotation, a possible starter. But we have to come out of these top 3 rounds with 2 guys that are going to make an impact right away. Whether that's a defensive tackle, whether that's tight end, whether that's wide receiver. And some of these mocks that I'm seeing today, as rich as it is at running back, McShay was saying that he thought 3 running backs were going to go in the first round. To me, that seems like a lot. But, if people are desperate for quarterbacks, that's another position that we might not be looking at this year, where it might be pushing some of these absolutely vital positions that we need to get in this draft down to us in rounds 2 and round 3. Your thoughts on that, guys?
I want extra picks too, Kyle. it's always tough to know because we don't know what the offers are, if there are offers with any trade back scenario. That's why I brought up Dart earlier, saying, if other teams love him, maybe the Jets could actually get something for number 7 if the Dart hype is true and teams want him.
Right. And to Matt's point before, like if this guy's footwork needs a lot of work, what new general manager and head coach is going to come in and say, this is the guy I want to stake my job on at pick 7, right? Like it would be more natural to kind of trade back. If you can get him at the end of the first round, maybe you're taking a flyer on him, or you're filling in the holes for the guy who comes in 26 so that he can hit the ground running. That's kind of like the feel I have from this draft. I appreciate your time, guys.
Yeah, I think for me, like just looking at how the draft is likely to shape out this year versus next year, I think I would rather just fill out the roster and look for my long-term answer at quarterback in 2026 with that class.
I tend to agree as well. If I want extra picks, so I'm not saying you'd be wasting a pick if you took one of these quarterbacks, but like chances are it's not going to work out. Like it just like for every Dak and Brock Purdy, go through the list of all the guys that get drafted at that position that a lot of them don't even amount to being long-term backups. Like the Jets have certainly tried it with some of their selections, whether it be Jordan Travis or, I mean, Christian Hackenberg was a second-round pick, so it's a little different, but Taj Boyd and Bryce Petty and Greg McElroy, like, if they didn't take a quarterback, I wouldn't hate it. They traded back and tried to get more picks. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be for a quarterback either, I guess is my point.
No, you're right. It doesn't have to be for a quarterback, but it would be nice to add that either additional second or third round pick to continue to build out the team.
Completely agree. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rick Kent is in the chat, and he's dropping a 10 spot of channel memberships for the people.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
Here we go. 10 from Rick before we say goodbye to Matt O'Leary with a very important final question. Xavier Bradley, boring sober guy, Peter, EJ, Derek Q, TB, Luis Cordova, Italian Stallion, Tyrone Garcia, Darnell Towns, all receiving memberships there from Rick. We also got another gifted membership. Mad Team 3 Parents gifted a membership to listener Jet Fan from Bert. So thank you to Mad Team for his contributions. And Rick, you are the man. Ted Bundy says Fields has epilepsy. He has his struggles. I don't think that's true, Ted. You could just say you don't like Justin Fields.
Yeah, I was going to say that's news to me. I didn't know that.
Matt, here's my final question to you. All right. There's been an incident we've been discussing on the show the last few days. Charles Gorman, he wiped his derriere on the Bobby Midnight program. I want your take on, one, the incident. I'll play you the clip real fast.
Okay.
And then two, do you think this will help or hurt Charles' chances in the Asmaniac Madness tournament? This is the number 1 overall seed, mind you, that we're talking about. So in case you missed it, here is Matt O'Leary watching live. The Gorman wipe heard around the world.
Charles, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm just working my ass right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Also, the end there, Bobby Midnight just saying, okay, that's fine. Like, it's not a big deal that a 30-year-old adult is wiping his derriere on his show. But, Matt, the floor is yours. Your thoughts on what you just witnessed.
That was certainly something. My question would be, what are we wiping with? Did he go standard TP? Is he a baby wipes guy? Does he have a bidet even? Like, these are all the things that I think could impact how people will feel about him going forward. But good hygiene is important. So the fact that he actually did wipe his derriere is a good sign. Maybe turn the camera off next time would be my advice. But at least we didn't get a visual on that. So I think it's okay.
I think it's going to help him, to be honest with you. I think people are going to rally around the wipe, and it's going to help Charles's Q score with the people.
The wipe. That's great.
How would you feel about Gorman showing up to your wedding, by the way, if he ends up winning this tournament? He might have to ask permission from his parents first to attend. It's a whole fiasco to get him to come to this draft party, but we could try and get him there.
Yeah, if we can get him there, I think he would be pretty electric factory. He'd have to go out. Whoever wins would have to go out on the dance floor and like be a genuine part of this thing too. I don't want to see anyone sulking in the corner here.
100%. Matt, you're the man. Thanks for doing this an hour earlier than normal. Appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Matt O'Leary NY on YouTube. Go subscribe to his channel if you're a Jets fan. Appreciate Matt for coming on there. A couple super chats to get to here. This first one is from, actually, I read that one from Jimbo, so never mind. Here it is. Nope, I read that one too. All right, we're actually all caught up. Fantastic. Bino writes in, time waits for no man, but always waits for Brigo. Also, Beastbreaker would like to confirm that his bed is, in fact, solid steel. Mr. Bonesy wrote in, my son asked me what Beast was doing. LOL. Speaking of Mr. Bonesy, folks, a blowout of all blowouts. 85%. Has there been a more dominant performance by a listener in the tournament so far? 85-15. Look, JT's a great caller, but Bonesy has love from all, it certainly appears. Here's the thing, too, about Bonesy that I look at when I look at his region. I think Bonesy has a chance to go on a run to the Final Four. Now, he's going to have to get through the lane train at some point, you would think. And V-Man's there as the 2. They would obviously meet in the Sweet 16 if it came down to it. But I feel like Mr. Bonesy is playing his best ball at the right time. Whereas V-Man has been sick, hasn't called in as much. I think V-Man could be vulnerable as a 2. So I could see Bonesy going on a deep run here. And we know the lane train is going to be tough to beat no matter who he plays. But, man, that is some potential matchup looming in that region. More of your calls right now. We do have open phone lines if you want in on the conversation. Spider Jetman is on the line. Spider Jetman, hello.
Hey, everybody. Big-time Jet fan. Just want to say Fields does have epilepsy. Mitch Trubisky had better stats. Caleb Williams, who I'm not even a fan of, had a better stats in 8 games. Let's draft a quarterback, and let's get these F-14 Jets rolling, baby. We need to do this. Justin Fields is not the answer. He can't process. He's going to run the ball. He's going to get injured by week 6. Go Jets, baby!
Spider Jetman, not a Fields fan. I mean, if you just look at the raw passing stats, I get it, but like Fields is not a great passer. We know this. His strength is you got to build an offense around his ability to run. He had 1,100 rushing yards in a season. And sure, he can get hurt, but anyone can get hurt. Right? Lamar Jackson can get hurt. He has been hurt, but he's been an MVP player in years he's healthy, which has been the last several. So, Fields is better than Trubisky, though. Stop it. Would I rather have Caleb Williams or Justin Fields? I'd rather have Caleb Williams. But I don't know if Justin Fields is being brought in to be like this great pocket passer. You got to have a real plan for how you want to incorporate him. Look, I'm not against still drafting a quarterback. My point is I wouldn't do it at 7. If they did it on day 2, okay, I get it. I don't love using pick 42 on a quarterback. It's not my preference. But I think they could go quarterback in the 3rd round or certainly in the 4th round. I'm not against it. I just don't know if they need to do it because chances are that quarterback is not going to work out. Not saying it can't work out, but it's probably not going to happen. That's just how it goes. Programming note, got 2 good guests set to join me on ESPN New York. I just confirmed while doing the show. Be joined by Ian O'Connor at 1:30 today. Ian, of course, wrote the Aaron Rodgers book, so we'll get his thoughts on Rodgers. He also is currently writing a book on Dan Hurley. He's been locked into college hoops, longtime columnist in this town. So he's joining me at 1:30. And then Met fans, the last manager to lead you to the World Series, Terry Collins, will join me at 2 p.m. today to preview the baseball season, which starts 1 week from today, baby. I don't count the Tokyo games. That's not opening day. Opening day for us in the U.S. is Thursday. That's the real opening day. Purple Belt Mike writes in, James Bond refers to Briga as Briga. Dave Briga. Boomtown writes in, Dave Briga doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down. Dan the Jet fan. Why is your March Madness Survivor Pool multi-entry? Because why not? Doesn't have to be one entry. If you want to have more entries in, feel free. It only increases the prize pool for everyone else, Dan. Ladies and gentlemen, will we get a concession speech from this guy who just called in? The number 14 seed in action right now against the 3 seed Mr. Bonesy. JT is on the line, and he's next. JT, how are you?
Doing all right, Jake. How you doing, man?
I'm good, JT. How are you feeling, though?
It's a busy day at work, man. It is what it is. I just wanted to call in real quick and show my face. I had to since today's my matchup. I know going in that Bonesy was going to be a tough matchup, and shout out to the committee for putting this all together. Shout out to you and the community. It's just a great thing you have going on here, keeping us Jets fans invested through this offseason here where, let's be real, it hasn't been what we wanted.
No, you're right about that. Like, even if like we didn't expect them to be like huge spenders in free agency, I figured we'd have more than just like one notable signing in Fields. Like even like the Cisco and the Stevens signing, while they're starters, they're not like flashy names or anything, you know? So it's like, thank God for Asmaniac Madness.
I get trying to get younger, but like I would have wanted to see some vets in there. You know what I mean? A vet wide receiver, someone. Even a Keenan Allen. I mean, at this point in his career, you know what I mean? But it's just a vet to have in there. But I just want to give a shout out to the community. Shout out to the committee. Excuse me. Appreciate you, Jake West. Appreciate you. Likewise. But yeah,
JT,
it's a busy.
Are we going to get you to the draft party? How do we make that happen?
I live in Southern Delaware now, man. It's a little harder for me to get out there, especially on a Thursday. I have some PTO coming up for work. I don't think I have enough to be able to meet you out there, unfortunately.
Well, I'll tell you what, JT, if you could make it, we need you there. All right.
Appreciate you, man. I got to get back to work. It's a busy ass day. I just wanted to call in and say what's up. Had to on my matchup day.
JT checking in. Look, tough matchup to go up against Bonesy. Dave Briga in the house. I appreciate the women of James Bond films, but not in a Bernard Nixon way. Well, thank you for clarifying that, Dave. Snowball says Bonesy knows basketball, and today was a layup. Dominant performance from Bones. No other way to say it. Now, I know our committee chair, Boomtown's keeping the stats. Is this the biggest margin of victory we've had so far? If it holds 86-14 right now, I think it might be. Bo writes in, Superman now has 2 weaknesses, kryptonite and one punch Briga. Perp about Mike. J-Quest tried to prank call Briga, but the phone rebelled and knocked J-Quest out.
Hey, do you go to the gym by any chance and play basketball by any chance or no?
Not recently. Why? You thought you saw me hooping somewhere?
I go to LA Fitness in Levittown. We have this tournament, right? 64 of us, and we play basketball, 1 versus 16, and we kind of grade each other based on our, how we play. So I'm the 8th seed. I got to go versus the 1 seed because I beat the 9 seed 10. Shout out to Ted easily. But I got to play the 1 seed, right? Here's my problem with the 1 seed. His name is Bobby. Bobby, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I love you. This guy, have you ever smelled rotten potatoes, Keith?
No, but go
Dude,
on.
so rotten potatoes is the second worst thing I've ever smelled in my life. The first is Bobby. Do I spray this guy with Mando before I play him or some butter and make him smell better, or do I just grind it out and try to hump my way to a win?
I have a rule. If I can smell you, I'm going to tell you. Have you told him?
Bobby it's just another level, bro. And, I don't even know what to say. The 16 seed didn't even show up when he had to play him. And Bobby thought that he just won because the guy was afraid, but it was because he smelled.
He's like, no, I can't.
He didn't show up.
I can't have that smell in my nose.
If I post this guy up, I might vomit. I'm serious. It's 10 times worse than rotten potatoes.
Thanks for the call, Lane. There's enough humans that smell like rotten potatoes on the subway.
You try that on Briga, it won't work. Try that on WFAN, oh, it will. Bang Mateo says, I don't think Jake ever watched a complete Membu game. No, Bang, I didn't sit there and watch a full Membu game. I watch the stuff you see online, get a feel for the player, then I read about him from people I respect who do it for a living. I don't pretend to be a scout on this show. Bang says, I'm sick and tired of the parakeets repeating the name Membu. What do you mean you're sick and tired of it, Bang? What makes you a scout, all right? Brian Baldinger, who does it for a living, was raving about Membu, as was Connor Rogers, as was Daniel Jeremiah. The people who do this for a living and watch every game of every player in this process, they all speak highly of him. That's not good enough for you? Who's your top guy, Bang? Because, of course, you're like Gary. You'll never be wrong with your player evaluation, ever. Boomtown says 83-16 is the high water mark. Big fella versus Paul Faz. And Paul called in yesterday. Well, right now, 85-15, Bonesy leading. If you keep voting for Bonesy, he's got a chance to break the biggest margin of victory record in an opening round. More calls right now. It's going to be a bit of a shorter show, so if you want to call in, do it immediately. And also, last chance to get in the Asmaniac raffle. $5 super chats will get you 1 entry. $10 super chats get you 2. 20 get you 7 for the day. And tomorrow you have a chance to win Don Maynard signed jersey, Garrett Wilson signed helmet, Wayne Corbett signed helmet, Brandon Marshall signed jersey, and a Jericho Cotchery signed jersey. More calls. Ricky NY is next. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, what's happening, Jake? Membu is a good player. I don't want to personally take an offensive lineman in the first round. That's just me. But shoot, I kind of lost my track for a minute.
That's okay. I like the Jordan Travis shirt. Too bad I don't think he's gonna be on the Jets.
Oh, he will. He will be. He will be. At any rate, I'm looking forward to proving you wrong on a couple of points. The Jordan Travis thing. Let me ask you, when that draft happened, did anybody think that Penix or Bo Nix were slam dunk first round picks? No, they got overdrafted. So when you say, oh, Jordan Travis was a 5th round pick, no, he was a 5th round pick because he was injured. Okay. He would have been a second, and there's a chance he could have even crept into the ass end of the first.
Because I don't think anyone thought
overdrafted.
He wasn't going to be a first round guy, Ricky. He was maybe a 3rd at best, they were saying.
Okay. And the other thing is right now, this is the time of year that people lie. Okay. The only person, the only team that can say what they're going to do in the draft is the first overall pick, because nobody can stop it. The Jets aren't going to put out what they're going to do. This Jaxson Dart shit is just all smoke. I think they're trying to stir up interest in Dart, hoping that somebody will move up for him. But it ain't going to be us. That guy friggin' stinks, okay? Like you said, people that you trust, Connor Rogers, Trevor Sickman, dude, those guys were like, on one of their more recent shows, they were like, when are people going to start talking about how good Trey Harris made Dart look? Which is a really good point. Small hands, like he's just, to me, he's like a worse version of Kenny Pickett. And that ain't first round material. I'm sorry. But that being said, and the other thing is I know that, I have to say, this leading up to this draft, it's not as contentious as last year. Last year, people got real nasty defending their picks against one another. It's been more friendly this year, but the thing that people need to do is we need to, like, when we're trying to figure out what the Jets are going to do, we need to stop thinking about what we like personally, because we're not running the team. We need to think about what Aaron Glenn is going to like, what those guys are looking for, not what we're looking for. So, anyways, a month to go. Can't wait. Can't wait to see how the tournament unfolds too. I got another tournament myself coming up, not this weekend, but the next, that I'm working real hard for. So wish me luck, and everybody have a great day.
Ricky NY checking in. Ricky, I love you, but I don't think Jordan Travis could be on the Jets. I think they're going to cut him. I don't even know if he's healthy. 2, you had his agent coming out and blasting the previous regime for saying they wanted to rush him back, which just sounds ridiculous. They wanted to rush him back when they had Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor in front of him. His agent was the same guy telling teams last year, and anyone who'd listened in the media, oh, my client's going to be ready for training camp. He never was. He never even had one NFL practice. Not one. And while we could say, hey, maybe Bo Nix was overdrafted, Penix wasn't. Penix was always thought to be a guy going in the first round. The surprise with Penix was Atlanta took him after they gave Cousins $100 million. That was the surprise with Cousins. Nix, I think we thought would be a first-round pick. I don't know if we thought it'd be in the top 15, but you know what? That proved to be the right pick thus far for Denver. I think it's more likely Jordan Travis is not on the Jets than he is. And I think if they draft a quarterback at some point in this draft, I don't think he's on the team. You'll have Fields, you'll have Tyrod, and whoever they draft. They're not going to carry 4 quarterbacks. John Lyons with a $20 super chat. 7 raffle entries for today only with this one. Let's go.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Nothing much to say, but get me in the raffle, baby. Keep up the great work. Go Jets. John, thank you for watching the show, man. Rick Kent in the house. I'm no Dave Briga, but Lane Train has to get by me. Rick Kent trying to do the unthinkable. upset the Lane Train as a 9 seed in the round of 32. Hey, it can happen. Dan writes in, you don't find Briga, he finds you. Jersey Jet with an Asmaniac super chat. New executive order replaces 911 with a Briga button. Amazing. More calls. Sluggo is on the line. Sluggo, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Jake? A couple things. A run pass option quarterback's best friend is the tight end.
Yep.
And whether you're playing Pee Wee or you're playing college ball, it's his best friend. Second, any quarterback who can rush for 1,000 yards is a defensive coordinator's nightmare. And the question is, can Fields hold up? Because I think if he can, they can win some games, especially with their backfield and their line. That's it.
I agree. I mean, look, if that's why you look at the roster this offseason, I can't really argue the Jets have gotten better from a roster standpoint. But if the coaching is that much improved, they could take the skill set of a guy like Justin Fields and have a real offense around him, right? Especially utilizing the talent they have with the O-line that's in place and Brees and Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. Like, there should be enough there. And if they add Tyler Warren to that, you're 100% right, Sluggo. I mean, I think Warren could be a really impact player on the running game and the passing game with Fields as the quarterback.
Hopefully he's Lamar 2.0.
Yeah.
You know,
or,
hopefully.
you know, maybe he could develop like Jalen Hurts did a little bit, you know?
Right. Can he hold up, though? That's the thing. Because I hope he doesn't, like any option quarterback you teach him, whether it's RPO or it's power I, whatever it is, you teach him to sit and pitch. And I hope Fields doesn't sit and pitch. Because when you sit, you're ready to take a hit and then you pitch. I hope he doesn't do that shit. Because if he does, he won't last long.
And then the problem is Tyrod comes in, and Tyrod is an injury history too. So you're on your third quarterback before you even know it, you know?
Yeah, it works. That's why the option works so great, especially the triple out of the wishbone, out of whatever you're running, not the flex, but the wishbone. That's why it works so great at the lower levels. But the problem is you don't have NFL size defense and speed guys on defense like you do in the NFL. And your quarterback takes hits in the triple option. That's the problem.
100%. So, good call, man. Where you been? You haven't called in a while.
Oh, you know, it was a big, I got into the political thing and I had to step away from that and, you know, God's will be done. And, I just want to, not to get, you know, off the rails here, but the epitome of football is Proverbs 27:17. Steel sharpens steel and man sharpens man. And that's the epitome. So I think God maybe had a hand in creating football. Because that's it.
Well, hopefully the football gods could be nice to us Jet fans.
Right. All right, Jay. Good call. Thanks. Good seeing you.
Sluggo, appreciate the call, man. Be nice if the football gods would stop torturing us Jet fans. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? JT says, smash the like, math ain't mathin'. I agree, JT. It's amazing how 380 people have voted, but there's only 194 likes. YouTube should make it that you have to like the video and be a subscriber in order to be a voter, but they don't. So I need to ask you, the people, to help support the channel. Also, I need to remind everyone to come to our draft party, baby. Get your ticket. Get your ticket if you haven't. Felix Dones bought a ticket this morning. He is the most recent Asmaniac to purchase a ticket. Purple Belt Mike writes in, the President of the United States reports to Dave Briga. Scott Foster writes in, when Dave Briga is pulled over, the cops are given a sobriety test. Purple Belt Mike is on the line, and he's next. Hey, Mike. You're on mute, Mike.
Man, it keeps doing that for some reason. Never used to do that. I don't have a Jets thing. I have a J-Quest thing. J-Quest. Please, brother, please prank ESPN New York. I want to hear either Bart Scott lose his shit later or Dave Rothenberg. It would be legendary. You're guaranteed to win your next matchup if you do it. Do it, brother. It's
Could
awesome.
could I get in trouble for that? Will that be a bad reflection on me?
How would they know? They're not gonna know.
Well, I'm going to play it on the show. Eventually, he's going to get back to him.
No, that's okay. They'll probably laugh at it.
I mean, they should, but you never know.
Well, if it's Bart and or Carlin, they'll laugh, and if it's Dave and Rick, they'll laugh.
Yeah.
I don't really know about, the other guys better than me, but maybe Michael K will get pissed off, so probably not him.
Well, it'd be kind of funny if you did it to him, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. But J-Quest, please, it would be hilarious. And every time you do a call, it gets better. You're getting better at it. It's awesome. Really is good. So please do it. It'll be really funny.
J-Quest is quite the talent. I'll tell you what. I think Bobby could be in trouble next round.
Oh, yeah, Bobby's losing. J-Quest, it's not even a doubt. And you know what? Brigga's I don't even know who Brigga's going against, but I'm rooting for Brigga. I think Brigga's going to win the whole thing now.
Brigga's going up against the incomparable Mike D's Nuts.
I love Mike D's Nuts, but, dude, it's not happening. Brigga's rise, he's rising past the moon here. He's moonwalking to the moon here, showing Gary a picture. he's skyrocketing. Yeah. I think it's going to be Brigga in the final, and if J-Quest pulls it off versus J-Quest, that's going to happen.
How about your matchup, Mike? How are you feeling about going up against the David T?
I'm going to get run over by a freight train here.
You think?
Dude, David T's awesome. I love David T.
He's great, but I don't think you should sell yourself short.
It's all right. I won the first one. Good enough for me. David T's the man. I like David T. So
I love it.
It's all good. So if I win, that's good. If not, whatever. It's all good. I made it this far. Good enough. I just love the songs and everything else. It's awesome.
The One Punch Brigga song is completely
that's
elevated
the best.
him.
I was singing it at work. I worked the overnight, and I was singing it at work in my head. Yeah.
I love it. Mike, you're the man. Appreciate you. Tell the company to tune into the K Show today. I need all the calls I can get.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, PBM. Brigga believes in achievement. That's what I think is the biggest thing for Dave Brigga. All right. Unlike Gary, he doesn't believe in achievement. Brigga does. Dave Brigga writes in, the chat people are very kind to me, which is appreciated. Dave, who could not be kind to you, my man? Unbelievable. Jersey Jet says, Brigga-isms are the new wave. Yellow Holmes writes in, time does not exist. Everything is happening at once in the Briggaverse. Purple Belt Mike, Brigga walks on water. Man, I wonder if Dave Brigga ever thought he'd have this type of renaissance at this stage of his life. He's even turned Beastbreaker into a fan. Dave Brigga's 10 times scary enough to make boys wear gym shoes and loafers instead of Crocs. I have no idea what this means, Beast, but I appreciate you getting in on the Brigga momentum. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not over yet, but it basically is. So let's check in with a guy who is on pace to have the biggest margin of victory in Asmaniac Madness tournament history. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
The only thing better than all them shoes is Joey D, cause he totally rules. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody. Damn, this show is crazy.
Yo. Thanks for all the love, everybody. I appreciate it. I'm just calling back in because I just want to talk to Rob V quick. He said something about me and Jake earlier, and you just got to understand where I'm coming from. I'm a faithful guy. I don't care if this hurts my votes. I'll always wear my heart on my sleeve with how I feel. And Aaron Rodgers was my favorite quarterback growing up for the last, 15 to 18 years. I've loved Rodgers. This man put his legacy on the line to come to our shitty franchise. The torn Achilles didn't help. And I'll always appreciate him. So I'm not going to hate on the man. Yes, I'm going to be upset that we got rid of a Hall of Fame quarterback for Justin Fields, but it is what it is, man. He's saying I can't go on a run because I still support Rodgers because I'm still upset. Yeah, I am. I will always feel because I love Rodgers. Even I know some people don't, but I love him as the human he is. So it's just hard for me to accept that he wanted to be here and we didn't want him. So that stings a little. And we replaced him with a running quarterback, but which I will say, if Fields stays healthy, he could rush for 1,000 yards this season. And, but Fields has never won a game. Listen to this. Fields has never won a game where the opposing team has scored more than 21 points. I mean, let that sink in. If the other team has scored more than 21 points, Justin Fields is 0 for life. So he's not a quarterback that's going to come back in the fourth quarter with a minute left and we need to get in field goal range unless we can. I'm praying that it works out because I'm hoping that Glenn knows what he's doing. And I hope that, because we didn't really, the beauty about Fields is that it's like a dart throw. We're not really committing to him. It's a 2-year deal. And it's not like Zach where we drafted him and he was our franchise and he was supposed to be the savior. No, we're trying to find, lightning in a bottle. We're trying to revive. Tanner Angstrand's going to try to, make his offense revolve around Fields. And then to the JD stuff, I will always appreciate him just because of he wasn't perfect. He did a lot of losing and it was gross. But the NFL is all about coaching, and our coaching has been terrible. And I always feel like in football, for you to be a successful franchise, you can't build through free agency. You have to build through the draft. And I always feel that Joe Douglas did a pretty good job in the draft. First round, he went 75%. That's 6 for 8. I don't care what you guys say. That's not bad. 50% in the second round is not bad either, especially for our track record where we couldn't even get first rounders to even, help us win games at all, period. They couldn't do anything. They were Calvin Pryors of the world and all those guys, Darren Lees and Milners and just all the failures. It's been so ugly. So I just, these guys better know what they're doing. We had we laid low in free agency. This draft is very important, and we better hit, baby. So, Ravi, I can't go on a run. I appreciate that. I'm gonna pull some from. I'm gonna keep talking about what I believe in. I don't give a shit. So I love you guys. I love the support, and I still love you, Ravi. All love, baby.
Look, this tournament is not about your Jet takes. It's about the personalities delivering the Jet takes. And whether you agree with the Bones man or not, the man is a passionate Jet fan, and his entire family is now Jet fans, and they're in for a nightmarish upbringing like we all have been.
Ain't that the truth, man? I feel bad sometimes for Sonny because he's like my older one. He's not into football like that. He's more artsy and he's not into football. But Sonny's already. Oh, here he comes. He hears his name.
Sonny.
He bleeds green and white already. He knows what's up, and he doesn't care that the Jets are struggling. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers?
Good.
No, you sad that he's gone? Man, he's all shy. Before we were, can you look in the camera? Before when we were off camera, he's talking to me, asking me all questions, AFC, NFC, who's in our division, just loving life. He's over here playing. He's homesick. He's been sick all week. That's why he's here. I didn't keep him home. My brother texted me, "Did you keep him home just for the tournament goal?" I said, "No, man." I know it helps. We'll see with the next. I'm sorry I can't be there today, Jake. If I was working, I would have been there. You know it.
You're good, Bones. No worries, man. We got to get you to the draft party.
I'm 90% in on the draft party. It's my wife's 40th birthday that week.
Oh, we'll celebrate her there. We'll get everyone to sing happy birthday to her.
She's probably not gonna come because we're getting a babysitter so we can do something. But I gotta be there. It's Thursday night. I'm working that Thursday. I gotta be there. I gotta be there to represent.
I love it. Your brother is watching. He says, Sonny.
Sonny, say hi to Uncle Joey. He's watching.
I love it. I love it. Well, Bones, congrats on the win. Dominant performance. And we'll see how far you can go in this tournament. I have you
Love
going to
you,
the
Jake.
Elite Eight.
Thanks, man. It's gonna be a ride. I'm gonna pull out some stunts. I'm gonna have some fun with this. You know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bonesy and special guest star, Sonny Bonesy.
The only thing better than all these shoes is sexy Rexy because he also loves feet. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody, and man, these Jets are depressing.
Love it. Bonesy's referencing a watch party I'm doing right across the street from his shoe store. It's right next to Grand Central Station. HF Markets is where I did my Yankee World Series watch party with ESPN, for those of you who attended that. 230 Park Ave. Let's be real. No one's working on the first day of March Madness. Everyone's leaving work early. 4 to 6, I'll be hanging out there. ESPN's got a bunch of giveaways. I'll bring some Asmaniac swag for anyone who shows up, so it'll be fun. A couple super chats here at the buzzer. J-Boy, name me a 1,000-yard rushing quarterback that won a Super Bowl. Wait. J-Boy, I don't think the Jets are winning the Super Bowl with Fields. I'm not trying to tell you he's good. I wanted Aaron Rodgers. He's a better quarterback than Justin Fields. Don't let the Aaron Rodgers derangement syndrome nut jobs tell you otherwise. Like, let's be real. That said, at least Fields, there's upside and hope for him to be good. And like, okay, maybe a 1,000-yard rushing quarterback hasn't won a Super Bowl, but like, doesn't mean it can't ever happen. I mean, Lamar Jackson has been pretty close. Jalen Hurts is not maybe a 1,000-yard rushing quarterback, but he's pretty dynamic as a runner. He's not the best passer. He's gotten better. Maybe Fields could get better. There's at least a hope of it, right? I'm not like, no one saw Sam Darnold resurrecting his career with the Vikings and winning 14 games, or Baker Mayfield being a top 10 quarterback. So Fields at least is just turned 26, and there's talent there. That's the point. Shake and Bake writes in, Jake, thoughts on the Jets front office lack of urgency at acquiring a wide receiver 2 in free agency? It's disappointing, Shake and Bake. Now, look, we'll see what they do. But the longer we go without any legit weapon, I feel like the pick at 7 should be a weapon, whether it's Warren or a receiver or trade back and take a receiver. Or certainly the second and third round picks have to be addressed offensively. If you go O-lineman at 7, tight end or receiver should be the second round pick, and third round pick should be whatever you didn't take. I get it, they have other needs on defense, but I'm going to trust the coaching staff on defense with Glenn and Wilkes and the existing talent that's there. Sauce getting back to being Sauce. Michael Carter being healthy this year. Jermaine being back. You still got Quinnen and Quincy. You brought back Sherwood. You have McDonald now. I'm going to bank on that being enough to still have a good defense and turn my focus on the offense. That's my hope. Last chance to make your point heard here. Reminder, Super Chats today are counting towards the raffle. Shake and Bake. I already read that one. Scott Foster. I will take Bonesy watching my back any day. Here's the thing about Bonesy that you know. That man is loyal. Bo with a Super Chat. This is not a year when we're laying down on the train tracks awaiting an untimely demise. We are the train. Watch and see. God, I hope so. I hope so. AD83 in the Asmaniac raffle for 10. Need that G5 helmet. Enjoy some Chipotle, buddy. How about this? From AD83, a $50 super chat here. And you know what? I'm going to boost this. Instead of 10, let's do 13 entries. You know what? F it. 15. Why not? AD, you're the man. I appreciate your support here at the buzzer as we're winding down. I just made that decision a lot like Woody Johnson made his.
You know, thinking is overrated.
15, why not? It's all going to a good cause. Thank you, AD. Appreciate that. All right, before we get out of here, it looks like we got 2 quick calls that we can hit on here. Australian Jet fan, excuse me, is next. What's up, Australian Jet fan?
Hey, what's up, Jake? I just wanted to say that I'm not a very big fan of Jaxson Dart. I don't think drafting him is the best decision. As we know, he is going to be a quite developmental quarterback. The Jets haven't been very good at developing quarterbacks. I just don't think it's the right direction. And you look at sort of Ole Miss's offense. A lot of the ways they sort of run their offense doesn't really translate that well into the NFL. I think the only reason people are talking about him is because there's no one else to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, look, I see your point. I do think the Jets might have interest in him. I just don't know if they're going to do it at 7. I know Rick Spielman likes him. He's now in the Jets front office. He's been on the record publicly before he joined the Jets that he likes Jaxson Dart as a prospect. And, I think when you consider that and you just consider some of the buzz that's been out there, like, it's not crazy to think they might like him. I just don't think they would take him at 7. Once again,
No
they might
chance.
only take him at 42, and it doesn't sound like he'll be there at 42, so I don't think he's ultimately going to be a Jet.
Realistically, I don't think that I think he's a second-round pick, and I think if he goes in the first round, it's only because he is a quarterback in a weak quarterback class.
Right.
I can't, like, if they took him at 7, I would be mad. I would be very mad with all the better options.
Me too. Believe me, me too. Australian Jet fan, I appreciate you, man. I don't want Dart. I'd rather wait till 2026 to get my quarterback. And while if you took him in the second round, it doesn't mean you couldn't take another quarterback next year. I just don't want to mess with that. You take him in the first round, you're not taking a quarterback in the first round next year. You're just not. How about this? Bo C, I won't be undone. You know what, Bo? I got you. 15 entries in the raffle with this $50 super chat. Now, give me money. Or I shoot him. And I shoot all you motherfuckers. And then we take it. Your choice, bitches. All right, I don't have time for his usual 13 points today because I'm on the radio coming up here. But I'll check in with Neil and then a special guest that closes out. Hello, Neil.
You gotta come back to me.
Neil, thanks for the time. Nick Shine, you're closing us out today. Hello, Nick.
Hey, Neil, how's it going? I'm on Jake's show too. First of all, shout out to the Bonesy family. And I need clipped of Bonesy asking Sonny, how does he feel about Aaron Rodgers? And he says, good. I need that clipped.
Yes.
That's got to be something that gets played every time Rodgers gets brought up. Hey, how do you feel about Rodgers? Good. No. That's not what we agreed. That's not what we agreed. I do have an update for you on Gorman, the draft night update. I am going to arrange. He texted me this morning. His parents are open and willing to me coming and talking to them and trying to hammer out the details to get Gorman to the draft.
I think the second one. Excuse me.
So I don't know if you saw the comment yesterday in the chat. I was like, Jake, $500 is needed for security and safe passage guaranteed for Mr. Gorman. And I'm gonna hit up the Gormans for $500 for safe passage just back and forth. So we'll have a security team in place. We'll have Jay Graves who will be protecting me. We'll have Knob with us. We'll have a good security detail for Charles to get him back and forth.
Tell Charles that not only are we going to get his ticket paid for, but we're going to put him in a VIP area with you guys.
Nice. Are you providing tuxedos and arms for us? Like,
absolutely.
What do we do? Okay. All right. I want to know. I'll send you my sizes. They're a lot smaller than they were a couple months ago, so I'm very happy about that. But yeah, that's the plan. Now I come to you, oh great one. Any advice? You know I'm good with this stuff, but sometimes I might miss like a detail. Like the pitch is going to be, I'll be with him. We're going with a bunch of Jets fans. You've heard Jake. He's been to a Jake outing before. It's going to be a great, safe community. It's a Jet fans in a hall. It's not like a crazy, wild environment. But I will tell you, I am worried about the strip club getting brought up because he did yell strip club in his house one day. And the only time he's gone out with anyone, what if they're cornering me for a confrontation and be like, did you take our son to a strip club? I'd be like, Charles, good luck, man. It was nice knowing you. And I'm just going to walk out of the house.
Well, that'd be a tough one. You might have to just own it and say, we wanted to make Charles' dream a reality, but we put him in a safe environment. And Then we went bowling after, and it was a great night. Or the chat saying deny, deny, deny. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like if they approach you with that, you almost have to come clean and just fall on the sword.
Yeah.
And then you have to say Charles is 30 years old.
I just blame Tom Ace. It was Tom Ace. Tom Ace did it. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tom Ace. Guy doesn't even use his real name on YouTube. Can't be trusted.
The Tom Ace. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I don't think they know. I don't think they know. I think you just got to go out there. You got to provide that authoritative, responsible adult figure that you are. They know you. They have trusted you with their boy before. Charles has been to one of my events at Don Jose's over the summer, and that went well, and he made it safe and sound. So I think this will go well. I think we're going to be able to get Gorman to the party.
I think I'll be able to deliver the goods.
The question is, did Whitegate negatively impact their thoughts on him being a YouTube star, as he would put it?
Oh, if they ask anything about the strip club, I'd be like, your son wipes his ass on the air on YouTube and run out the door. That's it.
That's a good
I won't
distraction,
take any responsibility. I will throw a new problem at them and just run out the door.
Now, do they know when you filmed the music video last summer with Gorman, was that public knowledge to the Gorman family?
He lied to them. He told them he was going to the mall with his friends and took an Uber to my house.
Out of context, that is hilarious to say out loud.
Now,
But
I don't know if you remember this. Do you know how he hit you up for the for food for the movies?
Yeah, $60 for popcorn?
Yes. Well, he gets here and he looks at me. You know, my son was here with us too. He was videotaping it. And he looks at me and goes, "Hey, we gonna get anything to eat?" I was like, "Yeah, we can get something." He's like, "I was thinking about Jersey Mike's," and like, I was like, "All right, Charles, I'll get you Jersey Mike's." And then he made me Uber him home too. So it was I know where you're coming from, Jake. With the Charles is very smooth. Somehow he's gonna come to the draft party and leave with more money than he went there with.
Dude, I'm going to be basically in debt from this draft party by the time we meet Charles' list of demands to get him there.
Dude, do we set up a table for meet and greets with Charles? And
I think we
should.
should.
The money back.
I said to him, I go, if you come and I'm comping everything for you, I go, you better be willing to take pictures of anyone who asked and sign autographs. He said, I'll do pictures. I'm not signing autographs.
All right. We'll you know, our brains will connect. We'll figure something out. We'll get it done for him.
He might be the Asmaniac tournament champion then too. So that
man,
the stage will be set for even more Gorman love that night.
Oh, you present the trophy in person if he wins it.
Ooh,
we have a trophy. We have a trophy presentation.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That is 100% what we're doing.
So there you go. There's a little incentive maybe to vote for Chucky.
Hey, Nick, before you go and I end the show, there's a guy on the line that I believe wants to talk to you. His name is Sonny Bonesy. Hey, Sonny.
Sonny!
I love androgynes.
Oh, Dad, you're going to get dinner even if you say different, pal. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Yeah, how you feeling?
Good.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear you're better.
You see, Nick, he says good to everything, so it doesn't mean that much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny Bonesy. Incredible.
Awesome.
Well, Nick, thanks for the update. That is great stuff. The people need to know, and I'm glad we're on our way to hopefully making this happen with Gorman.
You know I will keep you updated. I will be calling you for the pregame talk. If you're on air as I'm going there, maybe I'll come on for the ride there and come on and update. Maybe I'll try to time it with your show. I'll check their availability Sunday, and maybe I'll try to time it with your show. And if we get the green light, me and Charles will come on together.
Let's do it, baby. Let's make it happen. I love it.
Maybe I'll try to use the bathroom on there too and get footage of the bathroom of Whitegate.
Where it happened. It's like the JFK car.
That's not an advertisement to watch Sunday show, ladies and gentlemen. We could have live footage from the toilet.
That's incredible. Rob, Nick, you're the man. I appreciate you.
Be good, buddy. Talk soon.
Nick Shine, everybody. All right, we're going to wrap up here shortly. Bino with a super chat. Shine, you got to ask Dave Briga for advice. Yes, it's a good idea. Nick Shine, please ask Dave Briga how he would approach the Charles Gorman conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a show. If you want to get the ticket to the draft party we're talking about, I'm posting it a bunch in the live chat. It's also in the description. David Atkins with our final super chat, perhaps. Jacob Charles goes, I will buy him dinner and check in with his mom during the event. How about that? David Atkins willing to go above and beyond to make sure Charles Gorman can come to the event and his parents are comfortable with all of it.
Hold on, I'm gonna record right now. Hold on.
Oh, you.
You better be ready to engulf in some farts. I'll tell you that much. All right. I got to run. I'm on the radio today. ESPN New York filling in for Michael K. from 1 to 3. Ian O'Connor and Terry Collins are my two guests. Then I'm hanging out at a watch party at HF Markets, 230 Park Ave. Hopefully some Asmaniacs will show up. If you work in the city, it's right next to Grand Central. So it's a great spot. Come watch the tournament with me. Hang out. Would love to meet some of you in person here. All right. What a show. Before we get out of here, let's officially declare the winner in this morning's Asmaniac Madness matchup. That winner is Mr. Bonesy. I'm seeing 85-15. And if that holds, guess what? That's a new record, I believe, for margin of victory by Bones. So congrats to Bones on coming through as a 3 seed over JT. 468 of you voted. Great job by the chat. Once again, fun show. Thank you all. To everyone who gifted a membership or super chat, thank you. Tomorrow, we'll have our usual 2 shows, an Asmaniac raffle on one of them, probably the first one on the day. Check the Discord for confirmation on that. Again, thank you all. And there was this chat from Frank I wanted to read here. He says, awesome to see you live your dream, Jake. ESPN, draft party, March Madness, all in one day. Great work ethic and passion. Love to see it. Keep it up. Go Johnnies. Frank, thank you very much. Go Johnnies is right. Now, before we get out of here, I'm about to debut a never-before-heard song from Gator McCluskey. You've heard One Punch Brigga, but have you heard the One Punch Brigga Gary version? Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys on the radio at 1 o'clock Eastern today.
He thinks that Gary needs more shots upside his head. This cowboy hates when you don't believe in achievement. Well, they call him One Punch Brigga. The moon landing was great. They call him One Punch Brigga. His claim is not true. They call him One Punch Brigga. Hated jokes is like inside. They call him One Punch Brigga. Cause he know they need one. Yeah. He thinks that Charles and Bobby need to get a job. This cowboy hates to see Asmaniacs complain. What he call him One Punch Brigga. You need to get a job. What he call him One